on the gainers list and just about 3 losers on the market, and the top gainers were led by Centrum Investments Limited after having gained about 0.7% in share price there, closing the day with a 245.33 Ugandan shillings price. We also had Kenya Airways on the gaining list this time round with a 0.20% gain, closing the day with 117.16 Ugandan shillings per share. Jubilee Holdings also did have a gain of 0.20%, closing the day with a 6,118.00 Ugandan shillings. East African Breweries Limited gained about 0.05% on their 4th day of trading, still retaining above their stock price above 5,000, and to be specific, they had 5,077.94 Ugandan shillings. Now, we did have only 3 participants, and this was MTN, Stanbic Bank, Uganda, and DFCU Bank. And because DFCU is a new entrant on the participants list, I want to begin from the DFCU stock here and get to see what they do have for us. Now, this is one of the several institutions, financial institutions, that are listed on the stock exchange. It was incorporated in Uganda in 1964 and as the Development Finance Company of Uganda. It converted from a private to a public liability company in 2004 when the company's shares were listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange. And you're looking at the 14th of October 2010. That's when they officially got listed on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Currently, they trade under their ticker symbol DFCU on the exchange. Currently, they also have the 8th most valuable stock on the Uganda Securities Exchange equities market, holding about 406 billion Ugandan shillings worth of market capitalization there on the Uganda Stock Exchange, which represents about a 1.93% equities market share on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Well, yesterday's trades, considering their volume here, they had about 1,800 shares that were recorded, and these accounted for a turnover of exactly 979,029 Ugandan shillings, close to almost a million Ugandan shillings. Now, you're looking at their loss coming from 544 Ugandan shillings per share to 543 Ugandan shillings, which was a 1.0 shillings loss on the market, looking at about a 0.18% decline in price there at the company. Their shares outstanding currently are 748 million that are traded on the market, and a total of about 406 billion currently in market capitalization. Now, following their loss here on yesterday's trading, this was not the only loss they witnessed. Looking at their stock currently, they have begun with the price of this company's stock at exactly 580.0 Ugandan shillings per share. And currently at 543 Ugandan shillings, they have lost about 6.38%. And this ranks them the 5th on the Uganda Stock Exchange in terms of year-to-date performance, which is not a bad position. But overall, the company this year hasn't added any value to its shareholders. Looking at the dividends, they were unable to issue dividends this year. Also, now currently they're still on a losing spree, and they still do have a weekly, monthly, and year-to-date loss for which to account for. and of course that should really worry the investors there. However, in terms of the trading and market participation, currently DFCU Bank is the 8th most traded own stock on the Uganda Stock Exchange in the past 3 months, from the 5th of September to the 1st of December. They have traded a total of just about 5,400 shares on the Uganda Securities Exchange that are valued at 2.94 million Ugandan shillings there on the Uganda Stock Exchange, with an average of about 86 traded shares per session and a volume high of 1,803 that was achieved yesterday. So on the 1st of December yesterday, they did have their biggest volume that has been recorded in the last 3 months or so, and that is DFCU Bank. Their intensity of activity, well, they haven't had that intense activity. They did have on the 1st some trading. Their last trading before yesterday was on the 2nd of November, and then their last trading before that on the 3rd of October. It looks like every end of month they're looking at or beginning of a new month, they have something going on in the company, but not much goes on later on. But still, very hopeful that their stock probably might pick up in the new year, and we hope they will also get to work on their dividend issuance this next year, 2023. And that is DFCU Bank for you, who was one of the top movers yesterday on the Uganda Securities Exchange. Moving on, we did have MTN Uganda. Let's have a look at their stock here, what effect this movement had on their current stock. Now remember, MTN is making a year on the stock exchange this week, rather in the next coming week, because they did got to list on the 6th of December 2021, and when you get to look forward, currently they are going to make a year on the 6th of December 2022. They do have the second most valuable stock on the exchange. They came very powerfully in terms of market capitalization, with a total of about 4.03 trillion Ugandan shillings currently worth of market capitalization on the market. They do represent about 19.1% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange equities market there on the Uganda Stock Exchange. And yesterday their traded volume was about 330,193 shares that were traded, and these are valued at 59.4 million Ugandan shillings in a single day of trading. That was registered yesterday. Yes, it's possible. There are some friends of mine who really ask me, is it really possible that you have all this money, being traded on a stock exchange? This is just a small amount. There's a time about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Umeme had about 1.96 billion transacted in a single day. You can imagine, in a single day, people buying shares of over 1.96 billion. It means these things are possible, and you have to trust the process. You have to understand the process and know that it's not a one-night stand. You must be willing to put in the work in the longer term and get to view things in the long-term perspective. Now, MTN Uganda currently is at exactly 180.0 shillings, and their price hasn't changed in the past 1 week. But in the past 4 weeks, they have lost about 0.53%, and in the past 3 months, about 0.11%. Also, the year-to-date performance for the company has also declined. As of yesterday, they had a 7.69% share price depreciation on their year-to-date performance. And currently, when you look at their trading, they are in the 3rd position in terms of the most traded on stocks in the past 3 months, coming behind, of course, the number 1 stock being Stanbic Bank Uganda, and then followed by Umeme, as now MTN comes in the 3rd place on the movement list here. at the Uganda Securities Exchange. Now, a volume high of about 1.44 million traded shares was achieved on the 16th of September 2022, and a volume low of about 50 shares was achieved on the 14th of November within the same period. MTN has tried to really not to go below 180 shillings in the past couple of weeks, and successfully it has done so for now, but we are hoping definitely things could turn around at least around the festive season. As of course we expect more shareholders to buy and new shareholders coming in, as well as some of the old shareholders moving out of the company. Now, moving on, we did have Stanbic Bank with about 52,300 shares, and their stock price, however, was maintained at 21.0 Ugandan shillings. Currently, Stanbic Bank holds the #1 most traded on stock and the 5th most valuable stock on the market here in Uganda at exactly 1.07 trillion Ugandan shillings and a price of 21.0 Ugandan shillings per share. That notwithstanding, yesterday's volume of 52,000 accumulated about 1.1 million Ugandan shillings in turnover, and about 51.2 billion shares are floated on the company in the exchange. And currently, when you look at their prices here, they haven't changed in the last 3 months. They have maintained the 21.0 Ugandan shillings and maintained their place as the #1 most traded on stock. Now, regarding the performance of the index, which gives us the overall picture of what took place on the exchange. Remember, I pick out most of these companies because they are the top gainers or the bottom losers or the top movers. But we do have several other companies that you don't hear very often of, like the likes of British American Tobacco. You do have Cipla Quality Chemical Industries, New Vision Printing and Publishing Company, and a couple of others. And the index really gives us a good picture of what's happening on some of these. Now, the benchmark index, which is the all-share index of the Uganda Stock Exchange, went down about 7.1 points yesterday, and this was a 0.58% depreciation in value at exactly closing points of about 1,220.93. Now, regarding the 1 week performance, we have registered a gain on the good side of things, at least for the week, about 0.48% gain there in the weekly performance of the index, and the 4-week loss currently stands at 1.54%. The year-to-date overall loss went up a little bit from about 13% to 14.06% on the index. This time around, also the local company index was not left unharmed. The index went down by 0.01% to exactly 268.57 points. Of course, this is courtesy of DFCU Bank's loss yesterday after having lost some value on its price. And currently, the local company index, which tracks the aggregate performance of the local companies, is on a 4-week loss of 0.53% and a year-to-date loss of currently 17.28%. In summary, we did have a total volume of about 384,000 shares that were traded on the Uganda Stock Exchange, ending the day with a market value of about 61,500,000 shillings that was transacted on the day. The data shows a 66% decline in the volume and 64% decline in the turnover. And currently, the market capitalization of the USE entire exchange is currently about 21.1 trillion Ugandan shillings, and that's what the Uganda Securities Exchange currently looks like. Remember, to trade on the exchange, you must be dealing with a licensed stockbroker, and we just have 5 of them in Uganda. We do have Cheaper Technologies, Diane Blair, Standard Bank Group or SBG, We do have Crested Capital and UAP Old Mutual. Those are the ones you can actually approach to be able to trade on your behalf on the Uganda Stock Exchange. Our time is fast spent. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we get to look at Nairobi, a little bit of Johannesburg, and the US stocks. Stay with us. You're watching Smart24 TV, and we drive your business.
Smart24, driving business.